Winton, Winton, Winton over what? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Swords to Podcast. My name is Thomas.
And my name is Adam. Today we have an awesome episode ready for you. Thomas and I have brought together a list of 5 of our least favorite commanders and 5 of our most favorite commanders. Or least favorite or hated. I don't know. 5 hated commanders, 5 loved commanders. We each have our own lists, and we're going to talk about them, kind of explain our choices, and hopefully open the floor to discussion with you guys in the comments to see what you guys think. Thomas, you want to take her away?
Yeah, I can get started. So, the first commander, and this was an easy one for me, that I can say that I hate is going to be Bruvac the Grandiloquent. If you're playing this, you are a delinquent. That's close. That's kind of close to like the name. There's not really much to be said here. It's like 3 mana if an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill twice. It's like you're playing mill. Like, okay, good job. Like this deck is so telegraphed. It's not even funny. And I mean, he's a lightning rod, but that's like kind of the problem. Is like it works if he's on or off the battlefield, and that's what just kind of sucks. It's like you're just milling your opponents, and it's like what game are we playing here? You know? Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to be said. I hate Bruvac. Adam, do you have any comments on him?
I mean, I suppose, like, as you know, I was gonna build Bruvac. I was gonna build Bruvac Persistent Petitioners, and I got maybe 50, 60 cards into the list, and I felt like I was a robot. Like I felt like none of the deck building stuff that I was doing was creative enough. I was just building the same deck that everybody else built. Like, oh, put the Court of Cunning in there, and put the Traumatize in there, and put the cards in there that make the Persistent Petitioners cheaper. Put all the tribal stuff in there, and the 3/3. Like it just wasn't. It wasn't creative enough, and obviously mono blue is kind of hard to build, creatively anyway. So I never finished building the deck, and I ended up trading I traded Bruvac away. I traded all the petitioners away. I got rid of the cards, and I think for good reason.
Yeah, that's my issue. Is just because it feels like it's not fun to play against, obviously. But how fun is it really to play? Like you're not really you're doing the same thing every single time, and the thing that you're doing isn't even like cool. It's not like you're playing calculus and doing some crazy math between all your cards and all this. It's like, no, like you're just oh, I'm gonna mill you. It's like that's it. I equate it to people that play Mega Knight in Clash Royale. That's what Bruvac is. It's Mega Knight players. Okay.
Well,
okay, that's my Clash Royale reference.
Well, I mean, like, I think what kind of goes under the radar and why Bruvac is so hated so much, because I definitely don't think we're alone in disliking Bruvac. A lot of people dislike mill as a strategy. I'm not really with that per se. If you're not running, you should always be running a little bit of recursion, that kind of thing for your win condition pieces. Like, you should run recursion for your strongest pieces in your deck. That's just probably what you should be doing. Obviously some colors it's easier than some colors it's harder, but like I said, what kind of goes under the radar for Bruvac is he can come out at any point. Like the 99 does not rely on Bruvac. The 99 is going to function, it's going to churn, it's going to mill regardless. So you might not even see Bruvac until they're about to win. And that's what kind of makes it. And obviously Bruvac is a lightning rod for removal, but they can just recast him later on when they're going to mill you for more. So like that's what it's a very interesting play pattern that I don't think a lot of decks are prepared to handle. And that's why people don't like it so much.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like I said, I think this is kind of an obvious one. There's not too much else to say. What do you got for us, Adam, for your first hated commander?
I have one that you hold on, let me type this in before it messes with my mic too much, so I can actually read this off to you guys. My most hated commander is one of my most hated commanders is Miss Bumbleflower.
Okay.
1, a green, a white, and a blue for a 1/5 legendary rabbit citizen with vigilance, and whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, you draw 2 cards. So it's a draw engine in the command zone, and it gives your opponents cards, and then it either makes other creatures bigger, or typically what happens is she gets bigger. And they'll always try to play the game, and they'll give the cards to the people that are trying to find removal for other things, so that removal gets pointed away from Miss Bumbleflower. And then suddenly you have a 10 power creature in the air flying and hitting you. I've never seen a Miss Bumbleflower deck that doesn't just win with commander damage. I've never seen one that isn't running the hardened scales effects, the double the +1/+1 counter effects. It's like, you're not slick. We know what you're doing, and you're just trying to draw so many cards and pretending that you're actually helping the table when in reality you're not. Like, I just, no hate against Miss Bumbleflower players, but I find that they often try to pretend like they're not the threat, and the only thing you can really do is remove the commander, and that always feels bad. Like, in a lot of you'll see in a lot of the decks that I have or a lot of the commanders that I have in common, that the only real way to interact with the deck is by killing the commander, and then people get all upset when you do that. It's like, if you're going to play a commander that's this strong, you have to be okay with it getting removed, and I feel like a lot of Miss Bumbleflower players are not on that. What do you think, Thomas?
So I was thinking about Miss Bumbleflower. I've personally not run across her yet. I haven't seen anyone playing her. And we've talked about Group Hug a little bit on this channel before. And so I guess my experience is a little lacking in that department. But it definitely does sound like it can be pretty oppressive. And I know just from things that I've heard about her is that, it all seems good and dandy. You're drawing cards until, you just all of a sudden lose the game. I played against other Group Hug commanders that wasn't her, and it feels good for a second until it starts to feel really, really bad. So I don't hate her finding a spot on this list.
Yeah, I figured you'd agree. We're a little bit of Group Hug haters on this channel, I think.
I wouldn't say a hater. I like the idea of Group Hug. It's just, I don't know. I feel like there's not a great way of doing it quite yet. Not one that really, maybe Miss Bumbleflower is a good Group Hug commander. Maybe we are anti-Group Hug. I don't know. I don't know. All right, shall we move on to my number 2 slot?
Yes, sir.
So this commander, I don't necessarily want to say that I hate it. It's just really difficult to play against, and I think that's why he found his way onto my list. This is going to be Gishath, Sun's Avatar. So you're playing a dinosaur deck, and you're just discovering, and it can get out of hand really quickly. And the thing that I find difficult about it is just it's like interacting with it, because they just pump out massive dinosaurs. And when you're playing it like a casual table, because this thing, it can be built pretty powerful, but in general the ones that I've seen are bracket 3, and at bracket 3 I'm not really running enough removal and stuff to really keep up with this thing, barring a board wipe. But even a board wipe, they can come back really quick. It just kind of gets out of hand. And all of those like casting for free are just inherently broken, right? So like your discovers, your cascades, all types of things like that, and it can just absolutely punish you if you can't take care of it. But this is the big thing that I guess we'll probably see with a lot of these commanders, is that you don't need the commander to do the thing, right? Like you can not see Gishath, and you'll see like an even worse dinosaur pop out from the top of their deck, and then you're like, oh my god, like what do I do? And the answer is probably lose the game. So that's why Gishath found his way onto my list. What are you thinking, Adam?
I'm sort of with you. I briefly considered Gishath on my list. My play group at home does have a Gishath player. Jared, I'm looking at you, bud. And I don't necessarily hate Gishath. Like, I think the rate as far as what you pay, because Gishath has haste, so you pay the mana, he comes down, immediately attacks, and if you can connect with him with full damage, with most of the time you can, because you're ramping, getting him out very quickly.
And he has trample too.
And trample. Like, most people, when they see the trample, they're just like, okay, what's 1 or 2 more cards? But in a Gishath deck, you're typically running between 40 and 50 dinosaurs, so you're getting statistically between 3 or 4 dinosaurs if you connect with four with full damage. That's nuts. Like, and dinosaurs are like an average of like 5 power, so you're getting between 20 and 30 power for 7 or 8 mana. What? That's such an absurd rate. And not to mention all the dinosaurs that have ETB abilities, and like these dinosaurs aren't just vanilla creatures; they have other abilities. So yes, it's very strong.
It's usually discovered too, as a
Yep,
lot of what those
yep.
dinosaurs have.
It's like, oh, I found Palaza, but the only reason that Gishath is not on my list is because it's so easy to interact with. If you have if you have a Gishath player, all you got to do is keep a Swords of Plowshares in your hand. Like, it's very telegraphed in the command zone. You know exactly what's going to happen. You're typically keeping an eye on how much mana they have, because Gishath is going to swing as soon as he comes down. But I think Gishath would only be on my list if would continuously keep running into players who are upset with you interacting with the commander. Because, like if they get upset with you killing Gishath before damage, you shouldn't be playing Gishath if that's what gets you upset, because that's just going to happen every time. Especially if anyone in your pod is worth their salt, they're just going to kill your commander.
Yeah, the one last thing I'll say too is there is somebody that I play with locally. Shout out Sebastian, but he plays Pantlaza instead of Gishath, which I mean, interchangeable, I guess. So he gets a little bit of a free pass on this one because he's not playing Gishath. But guess what's in the deck is, yes, it's a Gishath. So,
Yeah.
I feel like it is very strong, and you got to stop it early. But like I said, in bracket 3, it's not always the easiest thing when everyone's just trying to build up. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what do you got for us, Adam? Number 2.
I have Gearson Starn Kellermorph. This is one from the Warhammer set. It's one a blue and a red for a 3/2 for a legendary Tyranid human with Ward 2. Ward 2, not something you can laugh at. And whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent or player, Gearson Starn Kellermorph deals 2 damage to that permanent or player. This card is knocking on the door of bracket 5. Like, it is, you cannot keep any creatures on the board because they run all the End the Festivities type effects that deal 1 damage to all the creatures. Like 1 mana board wipes. Like, this commander is so strong. And it, like, they sneeze and you just lose all your creatures. They sneeze and you take 9 damage in a turn. It's such an abusive strategy. It's a very strong commander, and just the Ward 2 is so unnecessary. This comes down early and just hits for a ton of damage. I don't know. The big reason it's on the list for me is because it's a board wipe tribal commander. Like, you're just
Great.
never going to be able to keep creatures on the table. And that's, to me, that's not very fun. And then obviously once all your creatures die and you can't do anything, then you have to sit there and watch this person cast 15 spells before they can win the game. And that's kind of just adds insult to injury. No hate to Gearson Starn players, because he is strong and I get it. Like, you want to play a strong Izzet commander, but it's just board wipe tribal and then watch someone take a 30-minute turn to win. Not my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. I hate playing against those commanders that make it feel like you have to walk on eggshells, and you can't play your creature because something's gonna happen to it, and then it's like what am I supposed to do? Just pass and let you, like you said, take your 30-minute turn. Um, yeah, I haven't came across one myself personally, but I can see how this would get very, very abusive very quickly, and I hope that I do not have to come across one of these in my future.
Yeah. What do you got, Thomas?
So this is going to be a fun one, and the reason why, okay, so Bruvek was the obvious one for my number 1. This was the second one I put on my list. Actually, I just moved them around a little bit. I had to play against this deck yesterday, legit last night as of recording this, and granted, I didn't get the memo that we were playing bracket 4, so I whipped out my Azuri bracket 3 deck, and because we said quick game, so then he pulled out a bracket 4 and then just completely punished us. And this is going to be Slicer Hired Muscle. I knew he was strong, but I didn't realize how much he just absolutely like sucks to play against. He's putting all this stuff on Slicer, getting it out like legit turn one, and then passing it to other people, and it was just us killing each other. It lasted like three rounds, and it was just us like being forced to kill each other. We couldn't even really get creatures down because again, we were all playing bracket three. It's just we didn't get the memo, I guess. But and maybe that's the reason why it was bad. But I like even if I was playing a higher power deck, I feel like this still would have went about the same way. It it sucked. Not a big fan of Slicer after that, and I know he sees some like CDH play. I know he doesn't go too crazy in tournaments, but sometimes he'll sneak through. It's just it's not it's never been my favorite mechanic. It's a cool idea to buff up your commander and then give it to other people and force them to swing with it, but being on the other side now I know how just terrible that feels, so that's why he found his way onto my list. What about you, Adam? Any experience with Slicer?
Um, I don't believe I've ever played against Slicer. Um, but I think as far as the gameplay that I've seen involving Slicer, he kind of folds to one piece of removal, you know, and he's hitting
Yes.
everybody, and I get that there's sort of some fairness there. Like obviously he doesn't hit, the if you're playing Slicer, he doesn't hit you, but um, I feel like those decks need to play more ways to actually finish the game without Slicer. I think like Slicer just deals so much damage that they want to pack the deck full of equipment and give him lifelink and all these other things and make him unblockable and whatever. That's fair, but I think those decks would be looked upon in a better light if they had other ways to win the game or if they had other strategies on top of Slicer in the command zone because he kind of just does it on his own. But
Yeah.
I totally see where you're coming from there.
Well, that's probably the reason why it really went into the forefront of my mind is just because, yeah, we had like maybe a little bit of removal, but again, we were playing bracket threes into a bracket four. Like it was like a turn one Mox Opal plus Lotus Petal, but like turn one Slicer. It was kind of ridiculous. So there was just nothing we could do, and it kind of stained my view on him. If I was playing a different deck, maybe a different story, but at least for today, he's on my list. So.
Fair enough.
With that, what do you got for us next, Adam?
I have one that only as of recently has made it onto my list. It's Eater of All. This is the
Hmm.
one from Bloomborough. A black and a green for a 6/6 legendary elemental cat with ward, sacrifice a food. Other creatures are food artifacts in addition to their other types and have the food ability. And whenever a food is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put 2+1/+1 counters on Eater of All. This card is there's way too much printed on this card. This card would be busted if it only had one of these three abilities. And I think there's really, obviously, ward is a mechanic that seems to be printed on a lot of busted cards nowadays. But so first off, you're getting a 6/6 for 5. Like, okay, that's a pretty good rate. With ward, sacrifice a food, which, because the other ability means sacrifice a creature or, whatever. But it turns all of your opponent's creatures into artifacts. And people hate the card Mycosynth Lattice for what kind of combos you can do with it.
I love that card.
And Yigra kind of does Mycosynth Lattice things from the command zone. And if there's any sort of bad matchup where you're against a sacrifice, there's a sacrifice deck at the table against Yigra is swinging for lethal very, very, very quickly. And I think it's sort of like Gearston Star where it lends itself to board wipe tribal because it's very easy to destroy, especially in green, it's very easy to destroy artifacts very efficiently with mana. So being able to turn all your opponent's things into foods, and then you also get benefits when you destroy them. Like it makes your opponent's things easier to destroy and gives you benefits when you destroy them. Like putting 1+1/+1 counter would be totally fair. 2 is too much. You kill two things and your 5 mana commander is now a 10/10. That's dumb. Like, that's really dumb. And like the ward, if you're building Egra as strong as you can make it, if you kill all your opponent's creatures, they can't pay for the ward cost because you don't have any creatures. They can't sacrifice a food. It's just the synergy with what this deck, the synergy that this commander provides for just incentivizing killing all of your opponent's creatures is too much for me. And like, maybe I'm a pansy for not liking board wipe style decks, but I think it's way, way too strong. And it lends itself to very unfun play patterns. What do you think, Thomas?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head with that one. You and me are kind of in the same boat. Same boat. We don't love playing board wipes, period. But then those decks that are just built around doing that, it's just kind of ridiculous. It's like again, like it almost feels like Miller. It's like, what kind of game are you playing? Just like stopping everyone else from being able to play the game. Like that's awesome. Um, but I do love how you said that she gets up to lethal like that, right? Because that actually segues perfectly into the next card on my list. And Adam, I don't know if you're gonna hate me for this one, but I think it's okay because you did take it apart. So I think there's some merit in putting this bad boy on my
Mm,
list. And you know what? I'm gonna let you take it away with my fourth pick. I think you already know what it is, and you can talk about the reason why it probably sees its way onto at least my most hated list and maybe some other people's. You want to take it away? You already know what card it is.
is it Yargle and Multani?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, let me look it up. Let me just look it up super quick so I can make sure I get the
Oh,
stats
is there?
correct.
Yeah,
Yargle
is
and
something I gotta
Multani
look at?
is 3 colorless, 2 black, and a green for an 18/6 legendary Frog Spirit Elemental. So, yeah, so I used to play this deck, and I never got the deck to the point where it was really optimized, but it's so telegraphed, obviously. But the deck, it can one shot people so quickly, and it rarely actually wins the game overall because then it just gets hard targeted.
Yeah.
But the deck, you pay 6 for your commander. If you sneeze, this becomes lethal. You make it unblockable or whatever, give it trample, and it just kills people. And then the deck is full of cards that let you fling it at people or sacrifice it to draw cards or make mana equal to its power. There's just so many broken things you can do with this card that, and I don't know. It's like it's fun being able to draw a ton of cards in Golgari, but it's way too easy to just start one-shotting people way too early, and then you can sort of hide behind the fact that, oh, but I didn't even win. Well, like, yeah, but you you killed someone super early and kind of caused them to have a bad time. Um, I don't think this necessarily belongs on my top 5 hated, but I can definitely see, especially after you having to play against it so much when I built it, I can totally understand why this card would make your top 5.
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking as well. It's just like you go and take your first turn, you're untapping, you're drawing, and then all of a sudden you have this big 21 plus power commander coming at you, and then you're just out of the game, and it's like, great. Like that was awesome. And to no fault of yours, Adam, I felt like I was more often than not the target because we'd
Mm-hmm.
be playing with like other people, and so that's kind of how it goes when you're mixing up the pod. You maybe don't want to target the new people as often, which is completely fair. But then that kind of left me being the Yargle, the Multani target, and there was just flat out nothing I could do about it because you would get this thing out like that, like flash speed. It was ridiculous, and yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Cool deck, but yeah, I think the reason why it's on my list is how often I had to play it. If it was like one or two games, would have been like, oh, that's cool, that's a cool deck. But since you had it built and were playing it for so long, that's kind of where those little seedlings of hatred sprouted for me. Get it?
Hmm.
Because one of them's a tree, so you know,
Well, it's also
sprouting
kind of
seeds.
boring.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
playing like a lot of the decks are playing 85 of the same cards.
I mean,
Like,
there's
oh,
not too much else you can do when your commander is just a big flavor text box with an
hmm
18/6 power on it. So that's
hmm
fair. What do you got for us next, Adam?
Mine is it actually is I believe this is a precon. This is Xyrus or Xerus, the Writhing Storm. This is another group hug type commander. This is two generic and Teamer, a green, a blue, and a red for a 3/5 legendary Snake Leviathan with flying. And whenever an opponent draws a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, create a 1/1 green snake creature token. And whenever Xyrus, the Writhing Storm, deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each draw that many cards. This is a commander that relies on cards like Teferi's Puzzle Box or, abilities that let everybody draw cards and then you break parity on them and making a bunch of snakes. But people don't I don't think people expect just how quickly it gets out of hand. The people sort of discount that last ability, the combat damage ability, because it's not like the problem is you can break parity on that second ability with the other ability on that card. So, you're paying 5 mana for a 3/5 with flying, not terrible rate. You know, you can easily throw an invigorate on it, make it bigger, whatever, and hit someone for a lot of damage, which is commander damage, by the way. And then you draw a buttload of cards, they draw a buttload of cards, and then you make a buttload of snakes. And I've the thing is with a lot of group hug decks, there's a window where the group hug is actually good for everybody right before things start getting bad, things start snowballing.
No.
That window where things are good with Xyrus is so small. Like Xyrus will maybe have 1 or 2 turns where he's out and things are okay. And then that window closes very quickly. Suddenly they have 30 snakes and they've killed 2 people. And they Xyrus players kind of act like it's not that. And so that's why this made my list. Just and also a lot of people I don't necessarily dislike the effects like Teferi's Puzzle Box, but I know a lot of people do. So I'm kind of a lot of times when people start playing those kinds of cards, a lot of groans come up at the table, and nobody like obviously it doesn't matter if I'm what kind of time I'm having, but it starts to kind of drag me down when other people aren't having a good time, and so that's also kind of why I hate this card or I hate
Okay,
this commander.
Robin Hood. Got Robin Hood of Magic over here. um, no, that's interesting. I can't say that I've ever heard of this guy before. That second ability is what really caught my eye. 'Cause you said like group hug, and I'm like, oh, how's a group hug? And you're like, oh, you gotta convince someone to take the damage, and they get all these cards. Like that's so awesome. And then, like you said, you kind of forget that you just took a boatload of commander damage. That's kind of nasty. It's like dirty. Um, but it and I'll be honest, I know it's on your list of hated, but that honestly sounds kind of cool. Sounds kind of fun to play. I won't, I promise. Everything on these lists, I solemnly swear I will stay away from. But I don't know. I feel like compared to some of the other ones that we've talked about today, like he doesn't seem the most oppressive because
No,
like
definitely
we
not.
said, little telegraphed.
Yeah. What's next on yours, Thomas?
All right, so before I say what is the last of my I don't want to call it hated because that's going to make me sound like a villain. Last hated card on my list. I have to issue a pre-apology. Graham from Sideboard Therapy. I'm sorry, no hard feelings on this one, but Derevi Imperial Tactician is going to be the last one on my list, and simply for the fact that well, for two things. First of all, I think there are much better commanders you can choose in Bant than Derevi that do a lot cooler things. Like, yeah, Derby's cool combo piece. Like, put it in the 99, putting it at the command zone. I just don't know. Uh, But the main reason is because damn, do those turns take fucking forever. I know sometimes I can take like a little bit longer turns, but like damn, do Revy be taking long ass turns. And that's it. That's gonna be that's the reason that I'm putting Derevi on my list. Adam,
That's fair. But like, there are other decks that make the turns last longer. Like, why didn't Quark Sakashima go on your list?
I don't know
Like those
because
turns
Krark
take.
Sakashima's cool. I think I don't like hate Krark. Like that's one of those commanders where it's like yeah, like it sucks to get kind of smoked by it, but like at least it's kind of cool like to watch it go. It's like you're sitting there like watching them flip coins. I'm like okay, this is kind of cool. They're getting like cool idea, but then Derevi just comes in. It's like oh, I'm just gonna untap stuff and then just do a bunch of things, and it just takes forever like figuring out exactly what to untap when spending. It's like that's like all these calculations that happen in real time. Real time takes a long time. So when the Revi's on the board, so that's it. That's
Like,
why
oh,
I'm
I'm not
going with
playing.
her.
I'm not playing Gaia's Cradle. Just it Lamont Cradle of the Sun and the planet land that that does the cradle
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, like you're not fooling anybody.
So I okay, I won't say hated. It's just I don't know. If you couldn't tell, I was kind of starved for a fifth spot on this list. So this is like just out of ones that I've played recently. First ones that came to mind, I guess. But Drevi's fine. I just say put her in the 99, bro. Pick someone better. And and again, shout out to Graham because I think that's literally something we talked about in our last game where he's like I don't remember who the other one was to be playing instead of Derevi. Or dog dog thrass dog thrass where dog thrass is just a better Derevi. So do that, Graham. Give him a shot. The little pup. Uh, yeah, that's it for me, Adam. What do you got? What do you got on your final slot for hated commanders?
Well, now that you mentioned that you were starving for a fifth spot, I think you're gonna hear this. You're gonna hear me say this card, and you're gonna wish you put it on yours. This card, not only is it in the last spot, but this is also my most hated commander ever, and it's Finn the Fangbearer. One and a green for a 1/3 legendary human warrior with Death Touch, and whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. This card sucks to play against. They just play a bunch of, one drop one ones with Death Touch, and then a lot of the time they give them trample. And if you're unaware, the Death Touch trample interaction, if you've got, yeah, the Death Touch creature only has to assign one point of combat damage before it kills the creature, and then the rest still tramples over. It's just an efficiently costed commander with a big butt that's hard to kill. It's in exactly the color it needs to be. It's very low to the ground. It one shots people very quickly, and nobody likes it. In fact, it's I don't think much more needs to be said. 2 mana infect commander that's very easy to one shot people with.
Yeah, no, I obviously Finn was something I thought about. I didn't put it on the list just because I wanted to maybe throw some stuff that people hadn't heard about before. But I think the general consensus is that this commander is one to stay away from, and I think that's a reason why I haven't seen it very often, if ever. It is great to play on a budget, but not great to play against. So don't do it if you're on a budget. You can do so much more. You can do so much more than playing Finn. So I think that's going to be our piece of advice to the
Yeah,
community.
you'll kill people, but you won't win games. That's
Yeah,
just kind of the curse of Finn.
definitely. So that does it for our hated commanders, if you want to call it that. Shall we move on to the back half of our list, Adam?
Yeah, let's get a happier vibe going. Let's talk about some commanders we love.
Do you want to take it away with your first?
Sure. I'll go first. My favorite is one that I actually built for my brother recently. It's Giada Font of Hope.
Mm.
Let me make sure I get all the words on this card correct. It's 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary angel with flying and vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control. And you can tap her to add 1 white mana, and you can only spend this mana to cast an angel spell. It's the de facto Angel commander, but it's so nice because it's a mono white commander that the 99 can fully function without. And I also like it because Giada pushes the deck in, or helps out the deck in a direction that you typically don't see in mono white. Like having a 2 mana rock in the command zone is pretty cool. Um, the That anthem effect to make your angels bigger is also really nice. 2 mana commander, it's still pretty strong. Flying and vigilance, so if you need to, you can make Giada pretty big, hit with some commander damage, and then still tap her to add mana, which is nice. Um, I think it's just a pretty strong commander in a fairly saturated archetype that just does a cool thing, and it's not too busted in my opinion. And it's also super fair. Like if you lose to a Giada deck, you don't have to interact with like there's no feel bad way to deal with Giada. You just deal with the problem permanents as they come, and if you get killed by angels, you get killed by angels. It is what it is.
Yeah, I honestly would have to say that I think Angels is one of the more wholesome archetypes to play in the format. It's just like you can't get mad at Angels. Dragons, sure, has a stigma. Slivers, like all these big bads, but Angels, like, they're not here to hurt anybody. They're angels. So it's always fun to kind of see them do their thing. Not fun when you get attacked with a bunch of big 4/4 flyers, but uh that's a late game kind of problem. So, and it's always nice to have a commander with a little bit of extra value on the side if you got nothing else going on, right?
Mm-hmm. One I do love it. This came out originally as Streets of New Capenna, and it's all the art of her as like a flapper girl, and I think that's pretty cool. Like
Yeah, it
it's just a
is.
cool representation of that, and especially what um, that culturally meant for America. I think that's just a cool little tidbit.
You mean for Capenna? For New
I,
Capenna?
you know what I mean.
No, I know. I'm just messing. All right. Um, no, that is great for a first pick. Let's see if I can follow it up. And the world may be asking themselves, am I going to choose a card from the Avatar set? Absolutely. So my first card, Adam, I'm going to ask if you know where I'm going with this, but don't steal my thunder. Princess Yue. Do you know where I'm going with this one?
No, I don't.
Awesome. So you get to be okay, I don't want to say educated. That makes it sound super mean. But this is a very, very interesting card. And shout out to Jolly St. Click for being the original person to actually discover this. So we're kind of hopping on his little bandwagon. But Princess Yue is 2 and a blue for a 3/2 human noble ally. And when Princess Yue dies, if she was a non land creature, return this card to the battlefield tapped under your control. She's a land named Moon. She gains tap, add a colorless. And in parentheses, she's still legendary. And she can also tap to scry too. Now, this is where it gets crazy. If you play a clone copying Princess Yue, Legend Rule, clone gets sacrificed, but still copying Yue. And so it has that ability that it returns to the battlefield tapped and is a land named Moon. And if that um, clone isn't a legendary card, then it's not going to be legendary. So you can play a bunch of clones, have them come in as Yue, and then they'll get sacrificed to Legend Rule and come back as moons, and you don't, you can have as many of those. But this is where it gets fun, is because when it comes back to the battlefield, it's still that clone. So you can target. I'm trying to think of whatever the card is that says when this creature becomes, or whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember. But you have a clone come in, copy UA, get sacrificed to Legend Rule, come back in, copying that creature, and it is now a copy. It has that text box, but it's a land named Moon. So basically, it has two abilities now. It can tap to add a colorless, and it says when it becomes tapped, you draw a card. And there's a lot of really, really nasty interactions with this. Couple infinite combos. I know, what is it? Pili Pala. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Hmm.
And something else, Arcade Sun, something like that, combos. There's some really, really neat things that you can do with this deck. And again, Jolly St. Click, go check him out. He was the first one to kind of discover this. It's so, so cool. I threw together a list for her, and it is just it's honestly one of the most like unique builds that I've ever put together. And yeah, that's basically where I'm gonna leave it. So she is currently in one of my top five favorites because there's just nothing like this. I know we probably say that all the time, but yeah, Princess Yue, super awesome. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah,
Having
I'm a
done this
fan.
now.
I'm a fan. I actually saw the original video of his before it blew up, and I thought, oh my
Oh
gosh,
wow,
if this
who's
doesn't, if
first?
this video, I'm like, well, I'm thinking if this video doesn't blow up, I might, make the deck because, if because the video blew up, and then I think keeping it casual also
Yes, he did
made
cover
a
it.
video on it, and he was upset that he didn't figure it out, and I think, or was it him or was it Veggie
It
Way? I
was it
can't.
was keeping it casual.
It was
Yeah.
keeping it casual. Yeah, that's so cool. And there's so many cool things you can do with some of the cards, like from um what is it, Born of the Gods, and the inspired cards. Whenever they untap, you get to do stuff. I love that whole idea. That just sounds like so much fun. If you hadn't put together a list, I might have. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I'm.
the cool thing is like it did blow up, but I still don't think a lot of people really know about it. I know Keeping It Casual is a big name, and
Hmm.
that's probably where a lot of people found it. I also found it through Jolly St. Click before I saw because I saw Keeping It Casual posted, and he opened the video making it sound like he was about to debunk the rule, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. And then he's like, yeah, no, I can't believe I didn't think of this. I'm like, oh, thank God, this is awesome. And then I think I like built it like right away. There's a lot of different ways you can go through this one. And honestly, Adam, I would say like yeah, I did threw together a list. I haven't printed it yet. I might tweak it a little bit, but you should too, because dude, this thing is awesome. I know there's one commander that's on everyone's mind, and by the way, quick disclaimer: Adam and I tried to keep commanders off this list that we have built.
Hmm.
So Toph is unfortunately not going to see the light of day today. Other than that, honorable mention. But yeah, there are so many cards from this Avatar set that are awesome, and Princess Yue is a little bit of a sleeper. So she made it onto my list.
Hmm. Yeah, fair enough. I can't blame you. It's a super fun interaction.
What do you got
Um,
next, Adam?
Mine is one that I built an online deck list and played with you a few times actually, and I still haven't put it together. I still might. It's vying for the 5 color slot in my commander collection. It's Urtet Remnant of Memnarch. I've always
I know.
loved
Yep.
mirrors. The first deck I ever built was Animar Soul of Elements, and so playing the mirrors as free 1/1s that tap for mana is so cool, and I've loved them ever since. This is 3 colorless or 3 generic for a 2/2 legendary artifact creature mirror. Whenever you cast a mirror spell, create a 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, untap each mirror you control. And then for Wooburg and tap, you can put 3/1/1 counters on each mirror you control, activate only during your turn. This card is so cool. It does so many cool things. It's efficiently costed. It's not hard to cast because it's generic mana, so you don't have to have specific colors, which is a lot of the problems with 5 color commanders that we've seen recently, is that you have to have all the pips or do whatever for that. You don't have to do all that. You can get the pips later. And it's so nice that it triggers on combat. So you can get Urtet out pretty early as long as you have some mirrors that tap for mana, maybe. And then you immediately reap the benefit and you can untap the mirrors and everything like that. Love that. It gives you value. You makes you tokens to help with your synergy. Um, Untaps all your things, and then later it gives you a win condition where you can pump your board. And what's notable is that it you can only activate it during your turn, but it doesn't specifically say as a sorcery. So it is sort of combat trick esque. So you can use that um, you can get tricky with that ability because during your turn you can use it at instant speed. Um, and I love it. It's the de facto mirror commander, and I'm it's still kind of rattling around in my brain if I want to build it as my 5 color commander.
Yeah, I think I played around with a list of that at one point, but then I left it to you because you started playing it and it was way better in your hands. I think the one I put together was maybe like a meme deck or something. I don't remember, but it is a lot of fun. The 5 color commanders are always so unique, and he is no exception to that rule. And being 3 colorless, that's what it is, right? 3 colorless to cast.
The
Kind of
generic, but yeah, yeah.
three, yeah, generic. Just kind of opens the door wide open, which I think makes it even cooler. So I love that on the list. All right, so let's move on to the next one that I have on my list. Now, this is one I have been dreaming about building. I never really got the chance to finish putting it together, and a case could be made to put it on a love or hate. We'll see once I ever finish building him if I do. This is Yurlok of Scorch Thrash. It's 1 and Jund for a 4/4 with vigilance, and a player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life, and you can pay a generic and tap it, and each player adds Jund, so 3 mana. So mana burn used to be a thing way, way back in the day, and this is just the mana burn commander. So I think that's what I called the deck, was like mana burn, mana burn, mana burn, or something. And it's ridiculously easy to break parity with this one because in red especially, what the Zuko, or not Zuko, there's plenty of cards that don't make you lose the mana, so you're giving hopefully players mana that they can't do a whole lot with. There's a lot of really cool cards that just give mana to other players, which is not something you would normally see outside of this list. And that's what I thought would be really cool about it. So it's like pseudo group hug in a way, but then they got to be really careful because, like, if they're losing mana on their turn, then it's going to hit them plus whatever you're doing on your turn to give them the extra. So there's some really interesting things that you can do here, and that's why he's on my list. So maybe I'll finish him. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, it's definitely a very fun commander. Um, it's the only commander that does that, if I'm correct. Um,
Yes.
yeah, super super fun. I love commanders that are the only ones in their field, kind of. Um, big fan of that one.
Yeah. What do you have at your? What are we on? 3? Yeah, you're third.
So my next 2 commanders are actually both from Outlaws of Thunder Junction commander. They were both pre-con commanders. Um, and these are ones that I have played against pretty frequently. And I love, in addition to the way that the decks just interact with each other when you have all 4 of the decks from the set on the table. I love the decks as a whole. So this is Gonti Canyon Inquisitor. This is 2, a black, a green, and a blue for a 5/5 legendary Aetherborn Rogue. Spells you cast but don't own cost 1 generic less to cast. And then whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, look at the top card of that player's library, then X out face down. You may play that card for as long as it remains X out, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. This is my favorite theft commander. You get to steal one thing from everybody as long as you can hit them with evasive creatures. And the best part is they don't know what you have. You get to steal their things and cast them for cheaper, and they get exiled face down. So nobody gets to know but you. Love that, love that, love that. A lot of people don't like theft, and I can kind of understand it. But you can't get upset when your opponents are beating you with your own cards.
Yeah.
You put those cards in your deck. You can't be upset about that. Like, I get so tired of people complaining about theft. They're your cards. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Like, I don't know. I love it. Pretty efficiently costed, 5 mana for 5/5, not bad. Gives you a little discount on stuff. I think it's fun to see people and watch people's wheels turn in their head as they're trying to cobble together a win with 3 people's decks. I think I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, no, it's always fun. That's what makes like certain decks a lot more interesting because it's always going to be different, and that's what I like about those kinds of strategies. And if anything, it's like playing against your own cards. It puts you at like a slight advantage because you know exactly how to deal with them because you know what to look out for, right? So I don't know, something to be said there. But I do like that pick a lot. Gonti is cool. That's from a precon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So my next card is also from a precon, but it was not the face commander. It was just in the 99. This is from the Doctor Who set. This is River Song. So it's one in Izzet, and it's a very, very unique card. So it has Meet in Reverse. You draw cards from the bottom of your library rather than the top. And then whenever an opponent scries, surveils, or searches their library, put a 1/1 counter on River Song. Then River Song deals damage to that player equal to its power. Now, when I did throw a list together with this commander, and it was cool. It was, like a top deck or whatever, something similar. But it's like cool because you can put stuff on the bottom. There's that extra turn spell that goes to the bottom, or creature, whatever it is. And it's a really unique deck. And I wanted to like 3D print like a tower or something to put my deck on to make it easier because drawing from the bottom is obviously like a complete hassle. But keeping on theme of commanders that are incredibly unique, it's like who else is gonna let you just draw from the bottom of your library? That's insane. And then paired with like scrying and all that stuff, where you get to kind of choose what goes on top or bottom, it makes for a really really interesting build, and that's why she found her way onto my list. Never build it in paper, and play testing it is basically impossible, but it is such a unique card. So that is
Yeah,
my number three.
yeah, yeah. I love that one. Very, I don't know, so wacky. It's one of those commanders where they play a card and you're like, oh.
It's like it would
I think
only
everybody,
work. It works so
yeah,
perfectly in the deck. You're like, okay, that is just so much fun to see.
yeah. And I love those kinds of commanders. Those are the best.
That's my favorite part about the game is when you see someone's deck just work. And you're like, that is
Hmm.
honestly the coolest thing ever. So that is on mine. What do you got for us next, Adam?
So, like I said, this is from the Owls of Thunder Junction pre-con set. This is Yuma Proud Protector. 5 generic, a red, a green, and a white for a 6/6 legendary human ranger. This spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each land card in your graveyard. And whenever Yuma Proud Protector enters the battlefield or attacks, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, draw a card. Whenever a desert card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 4/2 green plant warrior creature token with reach. I got to play this deck straight out of the box quite a few times. Love it, love it, love it. It's so fun being able to just churn lands into your yard and cast your 8 mana commander for cheaper. Um, it's super awesome being able to like sacrificing your lands to draw cards. Like obviously we don't love sacrificing lands, but you can get them back easily. You can play multiple lands a turn in this deck. Make your 4/2 plant warriors. Like that is such an underrated ability. Making a 4 power creature every time a desert hits your graveyard is so powerful, especially because so many of the deserts sacrifice themselves or sacrifice other deserts. Um, there's so much synergy in this deck. Um, and a lot of people play Hazazon Shaper of Sand, which was in the 99 of this deck. This was sort of like it was sort of the backup commander, I think, of the precon. But I like Yuma more. I think it's just a lot of fun to sacrifice lands for value and make and make tokens with it. Big fan.
Yeah, I think Landfall is a really really great strategy. It's probably one of the more fun ones to play. Feels it doesn't feel oppressive at all to play against, and when you're including the graveyard in that, it just kind of blows the whole top off of everything, and it opens you up to so much more. And I think that's where those decks really really shine, is if you can get that in. And being that it's just whenever they touch the graveyard, that is pretty nuts. So that sounds like a really really fun commander to play.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. Let's keep rolling. My fourth commander. Now, this is from Adam. This is from your favorite set. I think you might know where I'm going with this one. I haven't gotten the chance to build it yet, but you did, and you went a very, very unique route with it. If I were to build it, it would have been the the base, like what everyone else is doing. But I'm gonna pass it over to you so you can talk about your super unique take on Magar of the Magic Strings from Unfinity.
Bro, you're just making me talk about all of yours.
Well, okay, to be fair, you also because what was it? We spent like days like arguing about the
Yeah,
ruling
the
on this card,
graveyard.
and
Yeah.
I had to like, you know, just to finally admit that you were right. So you're way better to explain what this
Oh,
guy actually does than me.
this card
Take
is
it
a
away, Adam.
mouthful. Magar of the Magic Strings is one a black and a red for a 3/3 legendary Minotaur performer with one generic, one black, and one red. Note the name of target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard and put it onto the battlefield face down. It's a 3/3 creature with, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may create a copy of the card with a noted name. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. And if this creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Okay.
Good job. Round of
So this
applause.
commander, you dump you dump instants and sorceries into the graveyard and then you reanimate them. Ideally, you want to get big ones, big splashy instants and sorceries, reanimate them, and then find a way to make them evasive and hit people with them. Super fun. And what Thomas is talking about with my super creative way of building Magar is he's Lightning Bolt Tribal. So he's 3 mana for a 3/3 that you can pay 3 to turn your instant and sorceries into 3/3s. So if all the instants and sorceries in your deck deal 3 damage, you get to pay 3 for a 3/3 that you can pay 3 to make 3/3s that deal 3 damage, and then whenever they deal the 3 damage, they can cast and deal 3 damage. So everything is in threes. Yeah, I enjoy the deck. It's definitely fallen out of favor with me recently just because it's not very strong, and it also lends itself to, in order for it to stay afloat, you have to kind of start killing your opponent's creatures, and I don't love just killing creatures because I have damage that can only be pointed at creatures. So that can kind of cause problems and get hated off the table pretty quickly because I'm killing creatures and people don't like that. But I totally get it. It's such the mechanic is so weird. I mean, they created a couple rules just specifically for this card. It's so weird to play against, and like we just said, it's one of those decks where they have a card in the deck and they play it and you're like, oh, makes sense.
Yeah, it is a very very unique card, and what else can we expect from such a unique set with Infinity? That's where your gamer came from, and a
Hmm.
lot of really cool cards. So that is mine. Adam, what do you got for us in your final loved commander?
This commander is so unbelievably busted. Let me just say, it does something that really no other creatures in this color pairing do. This is Riven Turnbull.
Oh,
5 generic, a blue and
oh
a
my
black for a
God.
5/7 legendary human advisor with tap, add black to your mana pool. This ability is played as an interrupt.
Dude, he's broken.
So,
He's actually
yeah.
broken. Like,
So 7 mana for a 5/7, already kind of insane. Legendary, so it works with all your legendary strategies. And it taps for mana out of your command zone. Like being able to ramp
at
in
instant
Dimir
speed. At
is
instant speed. As an
it can be
interrupt.
played as an interrupt.
As an
Like
interrupt, yeah.
being able to ramp in your command zone in Dimir is so absurdly strong. Like you get to do the one thing that these colors don't do every single game. Like, do you understand how broken that is? And like, you can do it as an interrupt. You can tap it for a black mana whenever you want. Like, not just during your turn, not only as a sorcery, whenever you want. Like, if you want to cast a dark ritual, you can just do that whenever you want. Like, what? I can't believe that more people aren't playing this commander. It's so strong, but it's also not oppressive. Like, it doesn't do anything your opponents don't like. All it does is tap for mana. Like, yes, it is you do get to do it as an interrupt, so that's kind of broken, but like, your opponents can get over it.
No, I will say that the game, one of the games that I was playing against a Riven Turnbull, he was a lightning rod for removal for that exact reason because you could do that as an interrupt. It was insane, and we had to get that guy off the table at every single possible moment.
Yeah,
So he
like
didn't spend very much time, and I think it ended up costing like 15, 17, upwards of that to replay him, and we didn't even feel bad. It's like, bro, you can't be allowed to have Riven Turnbull on the field. Like, that's just not fair to the rest of the table, you know?
yeah, it's kind of deserved. Like, of course he's gonna
Yeah.
get removed. Like, tapping for black mana as an interrupt.
It's oh my god. It's
That's
like
what you
Wizards,
get.
what were you thinking?
Wizards,
Wizards.
what were you thinking?
But damn, that's tough because now I feel like what I'm gonna follow up with on my final card isn't is gonna pale in comparison. But the one thing I'll at least say is I couldn't decide, so I actually picked two cards as my final favorite card, and that's Aminatu Veil Piercer and Aminatu the Fate Shifter. I really couldn't decide which one I liked better, and I think I mentioned this before. Aminatu Veil Piercer, so that's from a pre. Well, they're both actually from precons, but Aminatu Veil Piercer. How many times can I say Aminatu? So she's from the Duskmourn precon, and what she does is each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4, which is insanely broken. So you're basically playing like top deck, which is honestly one of my like favorite mechanics, or I guess archetypes, however you want to call it. Top deck is super cool because being able to like manipulate what you're doing is so much fun. But when paired with a commander that just gives all your enchantments miracle, it's kind of busted because those big splashy um, enchantments cost a lot of mana, and so 4 reduction is pretty nasty. And the only thing that kind of holds it back is you got to play it like first. But that's why she was really good. So I built her strong, but she was really good. It's just the problem was that it was kind of the same thing every time. It was like the same win con, and on in games when it was getting shut down, it was really just getting shut down, and it was tough. But that's why the Fate Shifter is also kind of on my list because if anything, she's kind of I want to say like they're different is the problem. They both want a top deck, but they do different things because Aminatu. So I'm gonna keep saying it. So Veil Piercer is top deck for Miracle and Enchantment. Like I don't know, not Enchantment Trial, but just playing like Enchantress stuff, right? But then Fate Shifter is top deck with her +1, and because you can draw a card and put a card from your hand back on top. But then her -1 lets you flicker something. That's why she's big in the Sisei lists, and it's actually really relevant as a flicker deck as well. And when you're doing both things, it kind of opens the door up a little bit, and that's why I think the Fate Shifter might be a little better. And throwback to earlier when we were talking about crazy group hug decks that were cool at first until they were super oppressive. Guess who the commander was? Believe it or not, it was Aminatu the Fate Shifter. Like she was the commander to this group hug deck, and it was insane. That is genuinely one of the coolest deck lists I've ever had the I don't want to say pleasure to play against because like he fucking bounced all of our lands on like turn 4, but it was honestly like the coolest like thing to see work, and it's like it takes so much creativity, and I was so impressed. So Aminatu is probably one of my favorite characters. I mean, she is a planeswalker, but only one of these two is a planeswalker. So that's my number one, even though it's two. I'm gonna leave it there. Enough rambling. Um, Anything else from you, Adam, on Aminatu before we wrap this bad boy up?
Top deck manipulation is such a fun strategy, so I like that.
Yeah, yeah. When it works, it works. And Esper is a really fun color pairing, or
Hmm.
it's maybe not a pairing because there's 3, but whatever. I digress. So that's it. That's it for our lists. If you guys want to go in the comments, let us know if you agree with any of our picks, if you think any of them are outrageous. Except for Riven Turnbull, I think that's probably what everyone can agree was the most deserved. Like that card is like it still blows my mind that it even exists. Damn, that was
Yeah,
a good card. but but yeah,
yeah.
let
I
us
don't
know in
I
the
don't
comments.
foresee anybody commenting disagreeing with Riven Turnbull. That's just gonna be
How could they? How
consensus.
could
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
Hmm.
But we had a lot of fun with this one. Again, if there's any cards you think that we missed or anything, let us know, and we would love to hear your guys' feedback on this. And yeah, we had a lot of fun with this one. Anything else from you, Adam?
No, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow us on or subscribe on here and follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We just opened up a Discord, so that is on our link tree as well. So that'll link to that will be in the description below. Please feel free to join up. We're talking about Magic. We're in there all the time. We're actually in there right now as we're recording this.
In the
We talk
recording
about
studio.
in the recording studio. We talk about our episodes. We talk about our favorite cards. Sometimes we even jam games in there. So feel free to jump on in and have a blast with us in our Discord.
Yeah, we would love to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.
Later.